What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. I know I've been gone for a few weeks. I went on vacation. I'm all rested now, though, and I'm ready to make some killer content again for you guys. And today's video is no different. It's one of the most highly requested videos from you guys in the comments from my previous build videos, and that is an updated base tour with how I've done the layout within the new hard mode server we're doing. It's going to be a similar build, but a lot of you wanted to see how I decorated it, how I'm doing the new layout of all of my furniture and my basically facilities and things like that, which I have changed around specifically for hard mode to make things a little bit more efficient. So we're going to be jumping right into that in a second. But before we do, I have a few huge announcements to make. And one of them is that we have a brand new sponsor. They're also going to be the sponsor of today's video, and that is Instant Gaming. Basically, if you don't know who Instant Gaming is, it is a fantastic website that gives you insane discounts on all your favorite games and gaming needs. If you click the link down in the description, it's going to be the first link that I'm going to post in the description of this video. It'll take you directly to your website. And all you have to do is create a simple account. It takes less than 2 minutes. And once you do that, you can search any of your favorite games and just start saving tons of money. The way it works is Instant Gaming gets all of their CD keys digitally straight from the source. So you never have to worry about your CD keys not working or it being a scam. They have a near flawless rating with Trustpilot, which is a really well-renowned, basically online business platform that rates different businesses. But just as an example of some of the discounts you can get, they're upwards of 90% on some of these games. Ones that I personally have either picked up or plan on picking up still are things like Black Myth Wukong. You can get 17% off that right now, only $55. Another big one that just released today, actually, if you got the early release, is something like Warhammer 40k, the Space Marines 2 game. This one is upwards of 24% off for the Gold Edition and Ultra Edition. So you're saving a good like $25 on this. Normally the Gold Edition is an $100 purchase digitally from like Xbox or the PC version for Steam, and you're only going to be paying a little over $75. So huge discounts that you can get. Also, if you're looking for games that are a little bit more old school and like some classics, they also have all of those in the log as well. Games like Spider-Man Morales, as you can see, upwards of almost 60% off. You're only going to be paying $22. Normally, this is a $55 game retail, so you're going to be saving a ton of money on your favorite games. And I personally am going to be using Instant Gaming to get all my future games down the road because pretty much everything I buy is digital nowadays anyway. But it actually gets better. Not only do they sell the pre-orders and the digital versions of games that are already released, but they also sell the pay cards for your favorite wallets for things like the PlayStation Store and the basically Steam wallet, as well as subscriptions to your favorite games that are possibly MMOs. So let's take World of Warcraft, for example. You can get your 60-day basically game card for only $23. Normally it's a $33 purchase. So you're getting 31% off your monthly subscriptions as well. And like I said, these are all legit. They're going to be coming straight from the source. So Battle.net, Steam, things like that. So really, really great source for basically bonuses off of your game purchases. And if you again want to check out any of their titles, be sure to check the links down in the video and click that to set up your account and start saving some money. Big shout out again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. But that actually leads into the second big announcement, and that is because of our new partnership with Instant Gaming. They have also gave me the privilege of hosting a giveaway for one lucky winner a month to win a game of your choice from the website. So all you have to do is click the second link down in the description, and that will take you to this page here. And all you got to do is click the participate button. And from what I'm told, you just have to click a few links that basically allow you to follow them on different social media platforms to increase your chances of winning. And at the end of the month, for every month that we are partnered with them, once the countdown reaches 0, one random winner is going to be selected and contacted, and you're going to be able to pick a game of your choice from the website. And as you saw, they have basically every game you could think of, including new releases. So that's a huge incentive for you guys to check it out. And a big thanks to them again for allowing me to do that and help support the Glitch Gang community a little bit more. So really excited about that. But yeah, thanks again, Instant Gaming, for sponsoring the video. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. So here we are outside of the base, and we've actually got a new location. I know every other season I've been playing in the Red Sands territory, but we wanted to kind of stick together as a hive this time around and work a little bit more efficiently with each other and kind of coordinate. So we actually found an area that isn't in Red Sands that was a little more private and still pretty cool. And we have designated people in our hive basically for different objectives. For example, my right-hand man, Neo Villain, he's actually running around now. He is our go-to resource collector. His base is basically just a straight-up warehouse. If I walked over there now, it's just shelf after shelf after shelf of every single material you could think of in the game. So that's one reason why we weren't afraid to build outside of Red Sands for missing out on ores like tungsten and things like that. He goes on his little hour-long farming runs and brings back thousands and thousands of those ores and just stores them for later use. So we never have to worry about materials, which allowed us to have a little bit more flexibility where we build. We got other people like Ralphie. She's our botanist slash cook of the team. I've mentioned her in previous videos. She's the one that made the killer menu, which we're actually updating. And we have a full-on website that we're going to be creating soon that we'll have basically more unique recipes and a more basically user-friendly design for the menu that we were built previously. And then as for my base, I'm still the territory purification base. We've got the same setup with the 12 turrets. I have it in water. Personally, I haven't actually tested this yet, so that's the one thing I may change. I currently have them going all the way around, and then for the animal pen, I put 2 turrets on the back up top, just in case enemies end up spawning in the back. Depending on how deep this water is, some of the enemies might not come there, and so if we do the test in the next day or so, and I find that the enemies aren't spawning that much in the back side of the base, I'll probably move those 2 turrets that are on the roof closer to the front so that we can get more use out of them. But moving on to the front entrance, we'll head up the stairs here. And we got some killer views in this area, as you can see. I'm not going to show off the area, but if you're good at hunting down geographic locations, you may be able to spot it, just because I don't want a ton of people building around us. But very scenic location with our own little private pond, and every single building on this pond are members of our hive. So we got this cool, unique little spot for all of us to kind of work together and be close by. But we got all tier 3, basically alternating shotgun and rifle turrets surrounding the base, same as we had before. So really good for territory purifications. Around the outside, because we no longer have to worry about ores, because we're helping each other gather them when we can. I didn't use the little outcropping here for my mining drills anymore. I use this as the go-to spot for my garage. So it's on the bottom floor, looks a little bit cooler, and you don't have to just throw it up on top of the roof like I had it originally. So that is where my new motorcycle is. If we wrap around back to the front porch and enter in through the main doors, here we are on the first floor. This is where all my crafting benches are and my kitchen. We've updated the lighting a little bit. I can actually get rid of this light. I forgot to remove that. But we've got chandeliers now. I used to have just the corner lights in the middle. I also put the lighting, basically the industrial lighting, on the ends of all of the ramps. So even at night, we can see everything around the walkway, around the outside porch. Forgot to mention that. But if we go ahead and close this, we've got the cool updated lighting. Again, all glass. My buddy Neo hooked us up with that again. We've got our upgraded workbenches, the max tier ones you could get. We got our wish machine. This wall is going to be all of the storage for all the materials. And I'll go through these just in case you're curious on how we basically organize things, or I organize things. We've got one for raw ore, as well as refined ore, one for miscellaneous basically mats. This is going to be like those plastics, adhesives, some electronic parts, and the rubber. Down below, we have crystals. This is your things like beryllium, your vanadium, and the iridium. Moving on, we have hides and fabrics. So that's all of your cloth type materials. We have fancy ores. So we've got silver, gold, and the stardust ore. Moving on, we have the acid container as well as the deviant item container. So this is where we keep all of our acid and the items that our deviants craft to make things like potions. Next, we have mechanical parts. So this is our metal scraps, special parts, automatic parts, things like that. And then, as you can see, I have them kind of organized by style. I managed to unlock all the different storage skins, so I can keep them a little bit more organized, and I can just tell right away just by the look of them. So typically these black and orange fancy ones, I go with like the combat type items. So this is our ammo. Got a bunch of pre-made ammo there. We've got tactical items down here. I also put the fuel in here. This one right here, once we get closer to the later phases, I'm actually probably going to make another shelf. I left some space over here to potentially add some more shelves as well, but that is where I have like my bio missiles. I also like to separate a few select parts that are required to build things like the max level Gatling turrets, so I don't have to sift through 5 different boxes. I'll just keep a nice little chunk of the specific parts needed to create a Gatling turret in a separate box. So before I go into a Prime War, I can just go to that box, quickly take it out, and I know I'll have enough to build the turret right out the gate. So you've already started crafting up some bio missiles for those Prime Wars. And for the specializations, I kind of focused on that as well for my mimetics. So the only one I'm missing is the Gatling turret damage upgrade, but I do have the biomass missile ample munitions perk, which decreases the weight by 80% of normal biomissiles, which is huge because they're normally very, very heavy, as well as +2 crafting yield. So instead of crafting 1 biomissile, I'll actually be getting 3 every time. So really, really good perk for normal biomissiles. And then once we get into the last couple phases, when we start fighting the nightmare mode and like the Manibus fights, I also managed to pick up red plasma rounds, which is the only round that can damage the silver coating on the Manibus arms, for those of you that may or may not know, in those final nightmare versions. So really powerful type of ammunition for the Gatling gun there. So that's kind of what I focused on. But moving on, we have our kitchen. Got the maxed out stove, our meat dryer, as well as the fridge. And then over here we have our food stuff crate. So this is like some random seeds I have, salt, sugar, deviated items, as well as your normal cooking ingredients. Calibration mods. This is a random one that will eventually need more because I end up getting like 20, 30, 40 of these purples and golds eventually by the time we get to late game. Next, these are just 2 weapon crates because once we start farming those hard and pro mode silos a lot for different mods, you do tend to get a lot of legendary gear and equipment. So I have 2 equipment crates for that stuff. Moving on, we have our normal disassembly bench. And then these 2 furnaces, I'm actually super stoked about. One of our other Hive members focused solely on furnace upgrades with his mimetic tree. And as you can see, these particular furnaces have all 4 furnace upgrades on them. So we've got the decreased yield, or basically crafting time with increased yield. The one that makes glass and sintered bricks craft almost instantaneously. Bonus yield for tungsten ingots and copper and things like that. Basically every single boost that you can get with the specialization mimetic points, these furnaces have built into it, all combined into one. So I've got 2 of those, and I only need 2 honestly because they build so quick, especially when you're combining it with our little flame essence buddy over here. He hops on there and makes them go even faster. So basically the best furnaces that you can make in the game with the best upgrades. So really good for hard mode for sure. Moving on, before we go to the second floor, this is the updated basically animal pen. So you may have seen this in the previous build video. This is the newest addition that I did. It doubles as our animal basically stable and my damage testing range. So we've got our 3 test dummies to basically test the DPS of all the different build videos that I make. But we also have the farm. And if we go ahead and talk to any one of our buddies here, you can see that... Oh, come on. I saw the menu just come up here. That they are all the highest grade S tier animals. We've got a ram, a buck, a wolf, a boar, a crocodile, and the bear. So really, really cool. And I know I sort of misspoke in my taming video about the things like breeding and stuff like that. I wasn't necessarily lying. They are features that the studio plans on adding to the game. They just aren't out yet, so I apologize for that in advance. But there is a ton of new features for animal taming that they have talked to me about that they do still plan on adding. I don't want to go into too much detail and talk about it yet. I'm sure they'll announce it in the not too distant future, but look out for some really cool updates to the animal taming and the abilities that they're going to have and things like that. Right now, I'm not focused on them too much because obviously a lot of those features are still missing. It's not my number one priority, but everything's set up and ready to go for once those new features do arrive. So that is the upgraded animal pen. Again, all glass, which is really sharp, especially for the animal pen, because you can see through them even though they're actually fully walled in on all sides. So having that transparency is really, really handy. We obviously got the 2 doors that lead out to the outer patio and wrap around. That is where I keep my basically water pumps, which this little pond does suck up dirty water, which is nice for my farm, which we can go to basically next. I'll kind of use the teleporter, start from the top and work our way down from there, and I'll end on the deviant room because I made some changes in there. So I basically have a teleportation door. For those of you that don't know, there's a strange door deviation in the game now that allows you to craft a specific deviation item that will open up the ability to create teleporters for your base. So if you go to the build mode, go to basically facilities, and then under function facility, you can create a horizontal portal or a standing portal. And once you get 2 of these crafted inside of your base, they will instantly sync up and allow you to just instantly transport to different locations within your base. So I have one on the very, very top floor leading to the farm, as well as one on the bottom floor. So it helps getting around the base a little bit quicker, much more easy. I also can't stand that grid warping. I've talked to them about that as well. Having it locked to caps lock. Oh, it bugs me so much. But let's move on to the farm. So instantly teleported to the farm. It's pretty much the same as I had it before, only now we've got our Buzzy Bee active, and the food that I've chosen, I'll actually go over as well, because that was specifically chosen for a proper reason, for hard mode as well. And basically what we have is wheat. And by the way, I didn't use any special, basically soil, like fertilizer for any of these crops. This is just normal dirt and then throwing the plant in and then having the Buzzy Bee. And as you can see, within 1 crop cycle, we got a deviation in our aloe plant, 2 deviations in our beet crops. Fortunately, none happened in the corn. We've got 2 that happened in the saffron and 1 in the wheat. So it just goes to show that with this particular farming setup, because there's just so many, that even if you don't have the upgraded specializations for better soil and fertilizer, you can still get a ton of deviated food from the specific ones you need. But now going into the reason why I chose the food that I did is because of the 2 best, in my opinion, food items that would typically be used for end game builds, and that is the shattered bread, or what they're calling crumbly bread now, and the whimsical drink. So if we go back down really quick to the kitchen and go and talk to the stove, you'll notice that the basically whimsical drink takes purified water, which we can get instantly from our water osmosis purifier, ice cubes, which we can get instantly from our refrigerator, deviated saffron, which is why we're running the saffron in the farm, and then any other plant. So really the only one that we're farming for this particular drink, because it's really good with status-based builds, power surge, frost vortex, things like that, is basically the deviated saffron. So that's all for this particular drink here. The rest can just be found instantly on other appliances or just picking up the flowers out in the wild. So really, really easy. The only thing you really need to farm is basically the saffron. You can technically do one of the other plants as well if you want to kind of not have to deal with that. But personally, I feel like I pick up plenty of these out in the wild as I'm running around anyway. So I always have something to build it with. But the other one is going to be crumbly bread. And for this one, you need corn oil, which takes corn to make. So that's why we're growing the corn. We have sugar, which you actually make with the beets, which is why I have the beets growing. we have deviated aloe vera, which is why I have the aloe plants growing, and then wheat, which is why I have the wheat growing. So as you can see, the two best, in my opinion, end game legendary food items. Our farm up on the top floor covers all of our bases for every single ingredient that we would need for those. And what I can ultimately do is, once I get some good grow shrooms, is I'll have them set up to automatically start replanting all that stuff and allow me to craft basically an infinite number of those high level food items that I want. So really, really handy there. But moving on, we can go to the second floor now, the infamous deviation room. I don't have every deviation yet, obviously, because I just haven't played enough with the new phases. Some of them are locked behind bosses, like the Nutcracker and things like that. But there's also some new shiny variations. Keep an eye out for another video where I'm going to be going over the best farming routes and the quickest ways to get all of those shiny deviations. I've got a couple of them already as well. As you can see right in my backpack now, I have the Fancy Pants, basically Moonlit Festering Gel. I can't remember what it's exactly called. Oh, the Marine Star Festering Gel. So that's the blue variation. Has the ability to grant you potentially 5% weapon damage or 5% status damage at random, on top of its normal abilities that regen your health and get rid of basically sanity. So really good variation there. I'm still on the hunt for the pink one, but I will be making a guide for that. I also have the Tuxedo Cat. I've found a couple of those. That's probably the easiest one to find. That one has Good Fortune, which basically increases its mood cap by another 40% or 40 points, which is nice. There's actually multiple variations of the cat, which I still need to find. But as you can see, we've got them still wrapped around the entire floor. Only now I'm utilizing the cool paintings that we got from that previous event to kind of tie them all together with where you find them. So the Festering Gel you obviously get from the Ravenous Hunter, so I put that one there. The Harvest Seed and the plant-based ones, you get that obviously from the Treant boss, so I've got that painting there. Araxium, I just switched this out because I got the Iron Hand one, but you could put the Dreamcatcher here, and that will be good for the Araxium boss. We've got my go-to deviation, which is the Wolf Deviant, and that comes from the Hound boss, so we've got that one there. And then last but not least, we have the basically Giant, Forsaken Giant, and I have 2 lightning orbs here, but once that boss officially releases in the upcoming phases and I get the Nutcracker, that's one that I always typically run because it helps out with our territory purifications, so he'll get put here as well and kind of tie in with the painting there. So really, really cool setup. Double Digby boys, still on the hunt for those shiny variations to get our passive materials. And there you can kind of see the turrets on the top of the base that I spoke about earlier. But moving on, the last floor is going to be the domicile slash basically territory purification floor. I kind of combined them now. I mentioned that in the build video, but now you can actually see how I laid it out. So we've got my personal little wall here. We've got our upgraded bed, couch, changing mirror, and then all of these seasonal items that are kind of like basically street cred and little upgrades to show off. The premium battle pass item, the friend link item. We even have the huge Manibus seasonal figurine that we unlocked from the season goals from the Mitsuko marks. So really, really cool there. Along this wall, we've got the bar as well as some of my favorite large fish. I left some spots open for some smaller unique ones once I unlock those. So that's kind of like the fancy fish tank wall. Over here, we have one of the doors that leads out to the basically 360 degree third floor balcony. This is also good for territory purifications. We like to throw one of our hive members up on this balcony to keep an eye out for flyers and things like that. So plus it's just a nice way to see the views from a little bit higher perspective. It's really cool coming out here at night and things like that. When you're especially on top of this little mountain range, it looks really cool. But as you notice, I also moved my switches here. So this one here is what controls the farm. I have everything related to the farm hooked up to this switch. So that includes all of my water pumps, all of my irrigation systems, my grow lights, all of the osmosis purifiers, things like that. That is all connected to this one switch. So I can, with a click of a button, turn all of that off And then if I want, go over to here when we're about to do a territory purification and turn on this switch. And this one is the one that controls all of my turrets. So again, with the click of a button, I can turn all of my turrets on and off. I don't have to worry about them getting the bug where they're just instantly firing 24/7. I can shut them off temporarily when I don't need them to shoot at anything. And obviously it gives all of that spare power back to use for different things in the base, like the deviation room and things like that for some of the deviants that require power. Moving on to the other side, we've got the famous collectibles wall. So here we have every single figurine in the game, including the sheep. The only one that I technically don't have that's considered a toy is the llama. That's 1,000 Starcrum in the basically seasonal shop, but I'm refusing to buy that until I unlock all the weapons and gear that I know I want. I have almost everything, so I should be getting it soon. Probably by the end of the season, I'll have enough to pick it up, so we'll be able to complete the full set. And then behind that, I actually have almost the entire collection of the Impressionism paintings. I believe there's 16 or 17, and I have every single one except for Impressionism number 3. It's the only painting I don't have. So if you guys have a spare blueprint of that and want to hook a brother up and you're on server 23, feel free to stop by and drop it off. I would love to finish the collection, but cool little display here. Gotta have the piano with Mitsuko. Get her from the LEA Labs. And the Rebecca deviation. She'll play on the piano as a passive little animation. And she also increases the mood of all of your other deviants. Lastly, we've got a little bookcase here. And then as you can see with the blinking red lights, that signifies that this is the danger zone, the basically resonator room. This is where we hide all of our basically cortexes for our territory purifications. And like I said, because we're all working together as a single unit through our hive, we've been able to do full tier 3, basically 40 stone territory purifications every week since the first week of the season. And we plan on doing that every week until the end because we've pooled all of our cortexes together and crafted the ones we need. So it's been a team effort. And honestly, that's how it should be done, because when you're solo, it takes a lot of time to kind of farm those cortexes sometimes. So with everyone's contributions, we're able to do those full max cortex runs every single week and just get a ton of Starcrum. For those of you that don't know, the reason mainly why we chose the new hard mode server is because the Starcrum rewards are actually increased by an additional 20%. So instead of the old 4,000, we're actually getting 4,400 now, I think, maybe a little bit more. But you're getting like an extra 400 to 500 Starcrum when you're doing a full set of runs with your territory purifications now, which is awesome. Plus all the other sources from like the seasonal goals are increased as well. So really, really nice increase to Starcrum rewards on the hard mode servers. And it's definitely going to be a great way for us all to rank up and prepare for the big drop that's coming in October. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We saw the bedroom, we saw the deviation room, the updates to the bottom floor. I no longer have the 3 advanced basically synthesis benches, because one of the other specializations that I ended up snagging was this one here, which allows us to basically get acid from our furnace. And as you saw, my furnaces are super upgraded. But the Art of Stardust Decay, you can consume Stardust Source to craft acid using the electric furnace. So you no longer need a basically synthesis bench. I can just come to my upgraded furnace and craft acid here now, and it's only 4 Stardust Source per acid. And we have another buddy who specializes in Stardust ore farming. And one of the reasons, I guess I will show the location, why we picked this area on the map is, for those of you that don't know, this entire coastline up here is riddled with Stardust ore and things like that. There's ore for that special ore type all over the place over here. So we're like just a ride away, a minute away to go and harvest those. We'll just get 1 or 2 of us and we'll spend like a half hour and just collect a ton of that ore, bring it back, turn it into Stardust. And then if we need it, we just basically turn that extra Stardust into our acid. So all the different teammates in our hive are working together nicely. And we've kind of like handpicked specific specializations across everyone in the group. So each person kind of focuses on a different aspect and we kind of all help each other. So really, really good synergy there. But yeah, that is the new and improved hard mode Synapse Stronghold. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date on all my future content, consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell. And then lastly, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down in the description below the instant gaming links and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing Once Human. So hopefully you jump in and we'll see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, hope everyone has a great day and we'll see you all later.